Meanwhile, speaking of a laugh riot, here's Dave Rubin. I'll tell you what's interesting about this tweet, which is I don't follow Dave Rubin's tweets that often. Well, that's not true either, but this one was actually somewhat interesting to me. Let's go. Can you play the original video that he's reacting to? Somebody, the Susan B. Anthony list. Are they the anti-abortion? Who's Susan Anthony? But here it is. A state delegate. Yes, working to save babies. Okay, so let's play the video. The fact of the matter is that third trimester abortions, virtually every single one of them, is a medical necessity. That there is some measure of danger to the mother. Or we're talking about fetuses that will not survive more than a couple of days, if that, outside the womb, because some people born without a spine.
Competition would start kicking in.
Here is this is, I guess, coming from New York, I think, according to this. I'm not quite sure, but let's listen to it, because the impact it's having on Dave Rubin is both stunning and totally predictable, because this dude has already figured out what his business plan is.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
The mental health
or physical health?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So,
speechless.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Oh my God.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
All right, so let's just talk about what this is. You need a licensed physician to make an assessment that a woman's health, could be mental health, could be physical health, but a woman's health is in peril enough that continuing of the pregnancy is wrong or not medically indicated. There is no example of a woman dilating where a physician has or would sign off on that. There's just simply no example of it. There's 24 hours, and there's a nuclear weapon in the bottom of a well with a kidnapped child, and
right.
We've got to torture everybody because I've seen this on TV.
Think about it.
So this is just absurd, right? This is just absurd. Here is Dave Rubin responding to this a video with the following. This strikes me as true evil. Are any Democrats or anyone on the left pushing back on this? And, I've noticed he's been doing this calculation lately quite a bit. I consider myself begrudgingly pro-choice. Up to 20 weeks, he says. What does this mean? Begrudgingly pro-choice.
He knows that it's bad, but he's willing to compromise so you
Does
can
he
kill
even know
like
what the
some
trimester
kinds of
system
babies.
is? I don't even.
But it's getting harder and harder to even say that. Now, why would this is him working the pivot? Like, I've thought about how would I become a conservative as a.
I have a
we've
very
contemplated this
specific
many
guess.
times, right?
I think yes, we have contemplated.
We've
how to
contemplated this
become
because, like, we just as a lark. Like, how would you do it?
Yes,
And
I think that this means that whatever this new Patreon system him and Peterson are talking about might end up fusing with the new Blaze merger, and that Glenn Beck Peterson Rubin fusion could be in the pipeline.
Here's my prediction, ladies and gentlemen. Within 6 months, Dave Rubin will call himself begrudgingly pro-life.
I was talking with Bo Snodderu.
I saw another video that made me decide that there was a state senator who presented a bill I didn't like, and therefore women don't have autonomy over their bodies. I was forced into this position.
Did you see
Like,
this clip?
who comes up with their positions on this based upon this?
Did you see this
Who is
clip
in
of
any
this-
way anything but
of
disingenuous?
this sign language interpreter for the city council in Tulsa? That's pretty bad stuff. I think I can't support legal abortions anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He is going to be like he's going to hire a producer who's going to be like, you've got to get me the video or the article that's going to be the one that I pivot off of being
Oh, he'll
pro-life.
retweet those fake Planned Parenthood videos from like 4 years ago.
There'll
that
be
are already-
something like that.
Yeah, they're already like literally have led to criminal convictions, and he'll just retweet them out like, had no idea. This is really bad.
Didn't he have a book that he was writing?
Yeah,
He was
working on
writing
ideas.
a book, and
bad
he's
ideas.
probably had to rechange. Probably had to read because 2 years ago he was writing a book. And
I couldn't work my way through the John
I
Stuart Mill
found
Wikipedia
I
article.
didn't have to do the book because I just realized I could just go to the right with my podcast.
2 years ago was really hard because it was like, I haven't read a whole book on ideas and freedom. And then all of a sudden it was just like, hey, I'm gay, but I support fascists. And all of it just came along.
I remember the day I realized that I could support total intellectual freedom and be against a woman's sovereignty over her own body. And that was the day I realized I can quadruple my revenue year over year if I can just invite on a couple more people to the right.
Yeah, I live in this stuff. I think about ideas all the time. And one of the ideas I encountered that really disturbed me was this clip of an assistant toll meter made in Milwaukee saying that mothers should be able to actually kill their kids 6 months after birth. Are any Democrats going to speak out on this?
I did a
This is really
classic
disturbing.
80-20 analysis of what I was doing and decided I'm not going to be pro-choice anymore.
Well, it's weird.
Ideas.
Because, like, when he says it's getting harder and harder to even say abortion is okay at all, what's happening in his brain? Like, is he going through a religious conversion? It's like he
Yeah, that
feels
could
coming
happen.
on. Like,
Yeah, it's as if like
that could happen.
like this does not implicate abortions up to 20 weeks at all. At all.
well,
when
maybe
he was when
us
his
SJWs are pushing it too
If
far
you,
and causing a backlash, like all the IDW people say.
If you want to look at it in terms of archetypes, this is a classic captivity narrative he's pulling off here.
when he started his hustle, he was because I mean, one is like he obviously has this very malleable personality because he just sort of
Right. I don't
defers to anybody he's primarily talking to.
I don't want to credit him with too much thought behind all of this.
But
I
it's
think
like in the
more
beginning, it was Sam Harris and atheism, but now it's like there Ben Shapiro's around and Jordan Peterson's around, and a little bit of he did the stuff with Glenn Beck a while ago. So there's another marketplace there, and there's new things to consider.
look, raccoons are considered very smart for animals. But if you watch a raccoon, and I've actually spent a lot of time.
I
don't
know
wanna
you've
explain
made
this,
us watch raccoons.
But if you watch a raccoon looking for food, they cover everywhere. And then when they find the food, they just keep going back to that place and they keep going after it. So it's not like they look at structures and say, there's food there. It's just that they comb everywhere and then they find it. And I feel like that's what he's doing. It's just like, I'm going to cross the entire plateau, I'm going to cover every inch of this plains. And wherever I start to find something that will, nourish me. I'm talking about cash. I'm going to just keep hovering around that area. And that's what it feels like.
I found that talking about late-term abortion was very nourishing.
Yeah, I would not degrade the good name of raccoons by comparing them to Dave Rubin. I think they are noble creatures. They are clearly some kind of Antifa anarchists with those little masks on.
That's
and
true.
I think Slavoj Žižek might be one. So much smarter than Dave Rubin.
Just came in the
much
mail.
smarter and much nicer.
Didn't need government to do that.
Also, I would encourage everyone to read Jezebel's interview with a woman who had an abortion at 32 weeks, because it's a really tough situation to be in. Anyone who has a late-term abortion like that has a wanted pregnancy that has gone wrong. And the amount of unnecessary cruelty that these laws inflict on people who are already going through a heartbreaking situation is despicable.
Horrific.